Tonight on 8.5-bit, The New Flesh. And clap. Tonight, no, we've already done that bit. Welcome, friends of all designs. No, your delay is terrible. This is all ruined already. Welcome, friends of all designs, to 8.5-bit episode 273, or the first episode of the New World, where we are now, like every other podcast, doing remote recordings, and hopefully we can keep the quality up to a bearable degree. Hooray! It has been a long time since we've recorded, for several reasons. Well, originally, we stopped recording because James went to Japan. And then...
Oh shit, I did that, didn't I?
He went into quarantine, and then the world shut down, and James didn't have a webcam. Actually, Sam didn't have a webcam either, did you?
Yeah.
No, neither of us had webcams.
Yeah, and we worked out that, and hopefully we've got stuff going. And then I had a baby, and... Well, I didn't. My wife did, but I was there.
Do you help?
I took notes. And, yes, so we might hear a crying baby in the background. I don't know. He's actually been pretty good. How has life been, boys?
It has been pretty good. I've been fairly lucky in that this whole COVID thing hasn't affected me that much in terms of, like, at least my job. Other people have been having a pretty rough time. I'm pretty sure I haven't had the virus yet. I could have. Like, in Japan, I might have already had it. I could already be immune. I don't know. But yeah, not too bad.
I don't know if you do get immune when you have it. I think the jury's still out on that. I think you can maybe just get it again.
I think no one really knows.
It does make it kind of scary, doesn't it? Normally it's like we'll get herd immunity, and then this is less of a problem.
Well, Sweden's taking that gamble. Sweden's like, herd immunity, this sucker, and they got a lot of dead people for it. And then if it can't do herd immunity, oops, bad call. But I don't know. I'm no scientician. Awkward silence. Sam, how about you?
My life's been pretty unchanged because I was working from home since before Christmas. So I've watched my entire office transition and my life's gone on as normal. I think the only real difference is that now that I can't go outside, I want to. Because the option's not available to me. I never did anyway. But now that I can't, it feels like I should.
See, I'm the worst because I was supposed to go on paternity because I had the baby. But because of the situation, I work at a school, and schools are now currently very tech heavy, and there wasn't anyone to do the work. I am now at work every day, and working from home when I'm not there, and dealing with the baby and everything as well. So I'm getting super infected. It's good. Although Queensland has been very low numbers, so hopefully that means we'll be all good.
I have to say, Australia has been doing a pretty good job. Like our numbers have been staying pretty low.
Yeah, we'll see how...
Considering factors.
We'll see how some of the non-getting sick factors play out in the long run. Let's make this the political podcast. I'm going to get all Andrew Bolt up in this bitch.
That's what the people want.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a bit of racist old man? Okay.
Most people.
Yeah, but they're not white, male, and old, so they don't count.
We're white and male.
I'm getting old.
I want my face to be a better color, but it doesn't. It's not getting there.
What are you doing there, buddy?
Just moving my.
Options are white and orange.
I mean, I could pick somewhere in between these two extremes, but
no. Constantly.
Now look like
I could pretend there's an Amber Alert going on or something. It's like, oh no, quick!
Isn't that the shorthand for like Mexico in film? Big orange.
Oh, just make it orange. Yeah. Oh, it's so sleepy here. Oh, it's so suddenly orange and racist. Oh yeah. Oh man, I moved off out Mexican into some other stereotype there. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good either way. Okay, I put it on auto. Well,
I have to save these kids.
Somebody did pick up on the fact that I say "good job" the other day, and it was on purpose. So yeah, video games have happened a lot. We've had some of the biggest releases of the year, and the way things are going, maybe they'll remain the biggest releases of the year. We'll find out because everything has slowed down. So it's funny, on our list of news, some of the things that was news was 4 games that then came out and we have now completed. So they're not really news anymore. We'll just talk about the games. Also, this episode, to stop it being incredibly long, we're probably just going to talk about some highlights because we've got, a month and a half of content that we haven't covered, something like that. And you probably know most of it. The big news is there was a virus that came out on planet Earth. Quite a debut. Came from a bat, apparently. I don't think it's promotion for Rocksteady's new game, because I think they're trying to do a Superman thing. But, geez, this isn't playing to the audience at all. Jesus. Get a fucking sense of humor about this whole end of the universe thing. Jesus. But what it did do is it unfortunately really, really damaged the video game industry. It actually will be interesting to see the long term.
It kind of did and kind of didn't.
It hurt the media and press related side of it quite heavily, yes. And basically what it did is it cancelled a whole bunch of conventions and such. So first we lost GDC, which is pretty big, and GDC, whilst not really that public facing, is a pretty big one when it comes to dev side, both in showing stuff off and showing information, but then also networking. So that's where a lot of projects become technically born, because it's where someone met and had a good idea over a drink and then send them an email 6 months later. So those emails won't be going out as much this year.
It's also a fun place to play Find the Prostitute.
Please explain. What?
No, there's a bar at GDC it's called the W, and it's sort of like a bit of, because it's quite close to the convention, and so what you can do is you can kind of hang out there. And there's also a bunch of prostitutes looking for kind of like business guys that are, away from home. And so you can sort of sit there and spot. You do like prostitute spotting.
Okay. How does one spot a prostitute? Or sex worker, as they prefer to be called.
Look, you look for the very attractive woman with the very unattractive man.
Nah, that can just be life. Have you seen a sitcom before? Those are very accurate. Oh man, I should start telling birth stories on this thing. Oh, things they don't tell you about birth. Oh, that's great. Everything's just a lie. And in fact, it's better. It's better than what they show. But everything you know is a lie. Unless you've actually bothered looking into it at all, in which case it's fine. Okay, so yes, we lost GDC. And because this is the list I wrote as it went. So then I made a note that South by Southwest got cancelled, because that was important at the time. Not really a video game thing, but hey, it happened. TwitchCon Europe got cancelled, and then we all started going, well, what about E3? And people started speculating, and E3 started being in a lot of trouble. Before COVID even started being a big thing, the creative directors dropped out of the show. We lost what's our Lord leader? Mr. Doritos King.
I can't remember.
Keeley. Jeff Keighley dropped out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Keeley dropped out and made a bit of and all these people sort of made a bit of a show of leaving, which is kind of weird from a business perspective, because Keeley is one of the few people of about 3 or 4 that have been to every single E3. So he dropped out and said that he can't support the show and what they're doing at the moment. As I said, this is pre-COVID. In fact, we might even mention that on an earlier show. Then, as I say, Iron 8-Bit that were doing the creative director, they dropped out. And then there started being a bit of rumor. People were dropping left and right. And, yep, E3 not happening this year. My second favorite thing to do in the year, which is get drunk and watch some of those conferences, is not going to happen.
You just had to get drunk.
Yeah. Now, that said, I can guarantee you, one, Microsoft is going to be doing digital shows. They're not necessarily going to be doing it at the E3 timeline. It might even be earlier, is the current rumor. So we'll be getting a form of a conference anyway. It'd probably be closer to a Nintendo Direct. But honestly, what's the difference to us? We don't sit in an audience. And really, the live stuff is just because it's sometimes funny. And I will miss that. I hope Ubisoft does something insane. Sony wasn't going anyway. And they're going to be showing off their stuff. So nothing really lost there. Well, so far, we'll find out. And Nintendo already do their own thing. So it's got to be the smaller stuff that gets less of a stage. But honestly, everyone has their own avenues now anyway. So what does it really matter? Does E3 matter?
It all just end up online.
Will there be an E3 next year?
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what the long-term effects of this are. Like, is it really worth having a GDC when you can like, for all the talks and everything, like, well, you can just broadcast them. I mean, you lose out like on the networking thing. I don't know. I feel like it's just going to change. I guess with a lot of things, with now that we've been forced to take a lot of things remote, it's just going to change the way that we see about how we do things a bit. So
I kind of think GDC will be unaffected because that's so much of a networking thing. The business side of E3 stuff has long moved off the floor. So while there might still be a small, like, let's go do some business in some hotel rooms, like they've been trying to turn E3 into a public show, but we have public shows like PAX, and they're good. And E3 is not good for the public. It is boring and empty and not geared for them at all. And they've been trying to change it, but they're trying to change it in like, we'll get more influencers involved and celebrities and... Not for my generation. The generation that grew up saying, I wish I could go to E3. It's my dream.
Yeah. Maybe I'll play Duke Nukem forever.
And this week, Gamescom got cancelled. The biggest one in the convention in the entire world for games, it's gone. They are going to try and do some sort of digital events, but I mean, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be thousands and thousands of people crammed into a single area eating sausages. And smoking. That's what I hear. I hear it's smoking, sausages, and beer. Why don't we go to Gamescom?
That should be our dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to Europe. Way more relaxed there. We don't have to go through Trump's America. Be great. Okay. So we're not just newsy and COVID-y the whole time. Because, I guess the other thing COVID is, of course, is it going to affect manufacturing of new consoles? And is it going to affect development of games for said consoles? Probably a bit to both. But let's give it a rest for a while. Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about some games.
We had a lot of time to play a lot of them.
Yes, and so we had sort of our big releases. I'm just going to run through them first. So we had our Doom Eternal. We had
You reminding me of the things
you
that I
forgot
played.
already. We had Animal Crossing. We had Half-Life Alyx. We had Final Fantasy VII. They pretty much our big hitters. I feel like there's a big one that none of us played, but it was big. I don't know. Video games. Yeah, video games. Lots of big ones. So that was all within a week, basically, those games. Animal Crossing and Doom the same day. I bought myself my Doom, and I was like, do I want Animal Crossing? I've got a spare ticket because I buy those like tickets that you get on Nintendo Online so that they're slightly discounted. Like, well, I already have one, so it's practically free because that's how that works.
That's how it works, Paul.
So I played a lot of Doom. I'm like, I guess I'll try this Animal Crossing. So let's find out. Paul's got his switchy here. Let's find out what it says. This game that I wasn't sure if I'd even play.
I should check mine too.
What are my hours at?
2 seconds.
Profile. 105 hours it says on mine.
Jesus.
That's quite a few.
I'm at played 50 hours or more. That's what it says to me.
Mine says 85.
Which
That's from a
I
poll. That's from a poll playing over 100. When have you played over 100 of anything?
I mean, I do jump off things pretty quick. So let's talk about Animal Crossing. It's all right. I don't mind it. Animal Crossing has lots and lots of good things and lots of dumb things that I hate that are probably also why I kind of like it at the end of the day. I've never played an Animal Crossing game before. They didn't appeal to me at all. So I know there are some changes. For one, this Animal Crossing has a crafting system, and that hasn't existed before, really, has it, Sam?
No, it has not.
Yeah. And other than the fact that your tools break, it seems like I can't imagine playing this game without a crafting system in it and just waiting to get stuff.
Yeah. It does make the old ones look very shallow. Like in terms of gameplay.
I think what they've done is they've created... So if you're really, really into Animal Crossing, you can min-max this bitch and you can be time traveling and you can be building giant cities that are so incredibly unreachable from even the level I am that I don't know what the fuck game these people are playing. But it really doesn't matter what pace you play this. Like, I just have a small list of things I do each day. I go and I collect things, like I smash up my rocks. I go and check the stores. I do any... What they've done now, they've added this Nooks Miles thing. So you It's sort of a frequent flyer mile thing. So you get points for doing things. It's a way of giving you mini achievements through the game. So there's a big achievement list, and you go through the achievement list, and you go, okay, these are big goals. So catch 1,000 fish or something like that. But they've got small ones as well, and that's where sort of it's a bit genius because the first 5 each day are bonuses. So it might be ×2 or maybe even ×5 that amount of points. So what it does is it gives me a list of 5 things to do that day. I could do more. It'll keep replenishing it, but those ones are worth a little bit extra. So I may as well take the 10 minutes to do those 5 jobs. I've got my resource collecting around, but even now I'm at the point where, other than the rocks that I smash each day, I don't go and get wood from all the trees or anything because that's a lot of busy work, and you actually run out of space if you're trying to store everything. So you sort of pick your time and do it, but I'm starting to interact more with the other villagers. I'm getting the funny dialogue between different characters. The fact that it's always different, I'm still discovering new things. I didn't understand how much content is in these games. It's like...
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's a fuckload of shit.
Yeah.
What you have to remember, Paul, is that there is a year of content, effectively.
At least, yeah. And they're more dedicated to updating the game in this one and putting in more events that aren't even in the game yet. So even the people time traveling can't see everything.
Yeah, they've decided that I think was one of the smartest moves they made, that they can do it now, is to, for the first time any event runs, so over the next year, stuff like Easter that's already happened, Earth Day that's on as we're recording now, but then things, like Halloween and Christmas and like all that, none of that is in the game. So they know people are going to time travel, change the system time, go to those other times, but they're not going to get an advantage over the likes of us who are just casually playing through.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice. It means that everyone will always experience the big in-game events at the same time for the first time, at least.
I wonder if Nintendo, because you know how Nintendo likes to stop updating? They like to, they've just, I think they're just doing it now with, what's the game's getting its last update?
You mean Mario Maker?
Yes, Mario Maker just got a last big update. It's because it's like they've kind of turned it into almost like a live service thing, and people are really getting invested into it. I wonder if it's going to reach this point where it's going to be like this really sad moment when Nintendo decides, right, this is the last update, and what that's going to feel for a lot of people that have really invested to this as a place.
I mean, I don't think that's a big problem because, as Sam sort of said, it really is only a year of events, and then those events are then in the game and they just cycle. So you still get to read those ones.
It's what the old games have always been too. Like, you just have year events, and it's one of those. It's those weird games where like the core community behind it doesn't want or doesn't need new stuff all the time, because it's more about doing the same things than it is about finding new shit all the time to do. I think it's in a weird world of games.
Even I was because you get villagers that move into your village, and I was like, oh, some of mine are a bit. Don't really click with them, whatever. This one I saw online, that looked cool. I bet if I get them out, I've got a pretty good chance of getting someone like that. And then I saw how many villagers are in the game. It's 402. I'm like
491.
491. That's more than I said. That's a lot of villagers. That's a low chance of getting the cool squid guy I wanted. Yeah. Thankfully, I've got a few weird perverts, so that's fine. But
I think the other best part is that the only way to guarantee a villager is through those amiibo cards that they no longer make that are worth hundreds of dollars.
Oh, you can get them on Wish.com.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get the fake ones.
Oh yeah.
The official Nintendo versions are worth quite a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's
you think they would reprint those? Yeah.
No. Yeah.
No, you have to.
Buy some NFT tags, do it yourself.
Yes, that's what I was looking at. I was like, "Oh, do I want to do this?" And I'm like, do I care that? No, I'm fine. Because it still wasn't like it was more than a couple of cents per one. It was like, do I really want to do this? Not really. But yeah, I'm just enjoying myself with it. Sorry.
Sorry. I feel like half the fun is just dealing with the ones you get anyway. Naturally, like the villagers, just make the most of it.
There is one I've got now that I don't want. And because she's kind of a double up of another one that I have, so I have started beating her over the head with a net.
Yeah. Anyone that's the same species of a species I already have could fuck right off. That's as far as I'm concerned. I've already got a rhino. Fuck off. Why Wait, are you a better one? Because the other one's really into sports. I don't care much for sports.
Oh,
So-
my favorite resident is one who's really into sports, and I think that I like him because he was my first. He was my first one. So there's like this special place in my heart for him, and he really loves sports. Like every time he comes up, he's like, I gave him a muscle shirt at one point. He was so happy. So I felt so good.
I mean, I've got this gorilla that always wears pink, and I've tried giving him different clothes, and he doesn't seem to want to switch. I'm like, your default outfit doesn't do it for me, buddy. I'm the one that wears pink, not you, motherfucker. But weirdly, both my starting other guys were both sports fanatics. I'm like, the game really didn't pick this right for me, did it? But no, it's cool because it starts as like the camping thing, because we've got the knocking my microphone, that camping mobile game, which goes around. But really, you being in that tent lasts like half an hour, an hour.
Yeah, I mean, they really kind of pitch it like as this, like, you go into an island, it's going to be a camping adventure. It really does not take long for that thing to just turn into Animal Crossing.
No, and it's all tutorialization and done like pretty well, I think. So I had a few people that were sort of complaining that it was so structured. I'm like, the structure really only lasts, like, I did most of it in the first day that I played, and then I'm like, there's still more things to do. It is a bit more structured overall.
It does have like a really nice onboarding process, I think, across the first week of play. I think it is like what I'd consider to be the onboarding.
Yeah.
It seems like a long time, but when you're only playing, like, you only have to play half an hour to an hour each day to do the things for that week.
And I think that introduces you to the idea of what the game is as well. Like, it's not something that you sit down and binge. You just play it until you're done, and then you come back tomorrow. And
you can sit down and binge.
But,
can, yes.
but yeah, a lot of the time I do sit down and binge.
Like, my first 2 days, I cleared the island of weeds completely.
Yes, yeah.
And then, like, recently, because I've gotten to the point where I can actually modify the island, I've spent like an hour or two each night trying to like destroy cliffs and build new spots. And
I'm getting that tomorrow. I'm very excited. Everything's coming for tomorrow. I'm getting shop upgrade. I'm getting because there was just a big upgrade, so now your museum will upgrade, so that's happening as well. I'm getting basically what we were discussing as the end game thing happening, which also gives you the terraforming is coming tomorrow. Everything's lined up for tomorrow, and it's turnip day. Yeah. Turnips.
perfect. It's perfect.
I love the social aspect of the turnips too. Like, it's just a reason for everyone to go, what are your turnip prices today? And then every day, like, all right, who's got the, not like Sam, what was your highest you had this week? Like 400 and something?
463, and it was right after you decided to sell yours.
Yeah, like, I still did all right. Like, I still made, I think, about 200k.
200k.
Could have been.
Let's laugh at him, Sam.
I think my first big sale, I made 2.3 mil, but that's fine.
Yeah.
No, and then you've got this weird other side of it, which is the online communities for deliberately doing the turnip trading, and so you're lining up with like making a queue online, and then you get the dodo code and going, it's like, oh, come up to me, I've got the big hat, and make sure you drop me a tip, and like strange etiquette that comes up.
I did yesterday. When I had the 400 prices, I put it online because I was just walking from home, so I had it in front of me at my computer. And I just chucked it on the queue system, the website that popped up for it. And I specifically put in no tips required because people will give you them anyway. And I just left it. I just went AFK effectively and carried on working. And I think over the like 3 hours I had it up, I just made like 2 million bells, a whole bunch of like furniture and DIY stuff. People were just dropping shit for me.
I mean, that's
feels
the thing,
a little like cheating the system, but it works.
I mean, I think it's having fun within that system.
Yeah.
It's like it really is. So things that are annoying that I guess are very Animal Crossing. So the fact that, say, every time you catch the same fish, you get a line of dialogue that's the same pun. Like,
it's at least a C plus.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I think I kind of love it and I don't. Like, part of what I like about the game is
that's why I've got it both ways.
Like it forces you to slow down. Like, every time you go and donate something, you're gonna have to sit through Blathers saying, what he says, and.
Would you like to donate it to the museum?
Yeah,
it's always been a game that you can't play quickly. Like, Animal Crossing has always been slow to play, and even though they've made like this newer version of this new stuff, it's still slow to play.
Yeah, I think that the best thing I like about this version is it's given it so much more direction on what to do. Like the problem I think where what was the last one? New Leaf.
New Leaf, yeah.
I think New Leaf lost me about the time I got the first bridge, and I just couldn't be bothered paying it because I didn't really know how to get the money to pay for the bridge. Where I think now, especially with the Nook Mile system, how it's using these little goals to teach you all the different little things. There's just enough hand-holding to let you know, oh, I can do this in the world. I can do this in the world. And then, yeah, it's just like you slowly realize how much stuff there is actually to do.
There's a lot.
And yeah. And I think this is the first Animal Crossing where I've really realized that.
I do like that there's still lots and lots of little hidden systems too that they just don't mention. People are slowly figuring out or knowing from previous games and whatnot. Like I found out the other day with the floating balloon presence. If it goes in front of a cliff and you're on top, you can hit it with a net and it pops the balloon. It's like it's not something you'd expect it to that interaction.
The future is now.
So rare to happen.
Well, it took me ages to figure out how to capture wasps.
Oh, that's always the fun one, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that you could shake a tree with a net out. And so the moment I realized that...
You kind of like quickly swap between.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the cool things about Animal Crossing. It's like learning that and figuring that out was fun. And there's other things like dealing with scorpions or whatever. Like there's just little systems in there which you can kind of figure out, but there's no tutorial text that pops up that says make sure you use a net so that when you have a wasp you can get it. It's yeah.
I like there's a lot of that little tutorial stuff in amongst your villagers too. Like when you talk to them, they'll randomly give you tips, which I think is nice. Then the net stuff, for example, like at some point a villager might tell you, you can hold A to sneak up on bugs. Like maybe find out by yourself you can do that. But if you
I discovered that by myself. Yeah. That's kind of nice for something that
there's
is
a
like
lot of stuff like that.
At some level, very handholdy. It also is just as just work it out your goddamn self, and like there's lots of little tricks of like, oh, actually these bugs you can't see, you can hear them, and like just secret things to find all over the place. And there's the museum you donate your stuff to, and that museum looks cool enough that I like going in and seeing what I've completed. I'm like, ooh,
that museum is possibly the best part of this version of Animal Crossing. I think like
it's pretty sexy.
Museums were so bad compared to what this thing is.
And they've just added another wing to the museum, which is an art one, which is you get art of this skeevy fox that's on the island. He's got a boat out the back sometimes. So that's all new and that's fun. And they added hedges and bushes and a bunch of other shit.
You'll have fun with the art, I think, Paul.
Oh, I'll find out.
Because you're an arty person, right?
I can be.
Because it's all...
Do you mean pretentious?
It's all real world. No, I mean like you're aware of like famous works of art.
I am, but I'm also pretentious.
Yes. Yeah, both of them. Because it's
but
all
in a fun way.
Real world famous.
Yeah.
It's all real world art. Like it's all real world paintings and real world statues. It's like the Mona Lisa and the.
Wait. Does this mean that Animal Crossing is in our universe?
Yeah, didn't you get the world map? You get a world map. If you turn on the TV, it's a Japanese talk show. It's on Earth.
100%.
But yeah, the art thing is cool because effectively you can buy one piece of art when he shows up, but he's got 4. But only one of the 4 is a real one. The other 3 are forgeries.
Oh, all forgeries.
So you can inspect them before you buy, and you have to like unless you know what that piece of art is in the real world, you've got to spot the forgeries.
So I have to quickly go Google what it is.
Yeah, pretty much, and find the mistakes or find the differences.
Yeah.
So this is like this little mini game, and if you buy a forgery, you can't donate it. It's just useless.
Oh, that's cool because I haven't got to the multiple ones yet. I just had when he first came and he offers you the one, which I think he gave me Starry Night. Yeah. And the other night was the first night I had Shooting Stars. I'm like, ooh. I'm just sitting there mashing A because I'm holding a baby in one hand, going like, yeah, I'm sure to get some stars eventually. Yeah, weird game, cool. Spending a lot of time on it. So James mentioned something during that, which was that people might be disappointed when things end, like the last update for Mario Maker 2, which is a weird sentiment to say for what is maybe the biggest fucking update that people wanted that just dropped out of fucking nowhere for that game. So, is it live yet? I can't remember if it was live.
Yes,
It's
live.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah,
So-
it's live now.
when the first big thing, well, actually, I suppose in order of the video, at least from what I can remember of it, they start off with Mario 2 stuff, aka Doki Doki Panic. So now you can actually have the jump on top of something and pick it up mechanics from Mario 2, which previously people were like, well, they're not going to be able to put Mario 2 stuff in the game because it's a completely different gameplay mechanic. So they've just added it, which means we can have entirely new types of levels and do entirely new things, which is pretty funky. On top of that, they also added the one thing that people were... I remember when they first announced it, said, why the hell don't they add this, which is a world maker. So you can do an overworld map now, and you can put a series of your levels together to build a world and actually do a more structured design of a multi-stage world, which is just bloody great. Just so many little objects and everything added to it. All the Bowser kids are in it now. The Koopa's kids. It's like, holy shit! You actually
It's a solid update.
yeah. Admittedly, I do think, even though I really liked Mario Maker 2, it was a little bit lacking overall, like the big changes people would have wanted. I think this kind of adds them.
Like it's got it now to a point where you could make your own little mini Mario game.
Yeah.
Because you've got that continuity between the levels.
It is pretty wild. So yeah, Mario Maker 2, pretty good. Shall we move on to another video game?
Yeah, we've got a lot of video games.
Shall we talk about
Yeah, there's a few.
Doom Eternal?
Doom Eternal. Yes.
No, Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
I'm not calling it Doomy. So Doom Eternal came out, and it was a game which was kind of cool. It was... I'm going to give what I thought of my summary of the game. Doom Eternal is like many classic good sequels, like Terminator 2, Aliens, and things like that, where it ups the ante, it decides to deal a little bit more into the lore, and kind of ruins what was pure about the first one. Especially for the hardcore, they'll always kind of like the first one more. Put me in that camp for Terminator. I think Terminator 2 is a bit shit. And I don't mean bad by that. I just mean, you get into liking some ideas of the first one. The first game was, very, it was great, but, it was pretty driven, pretty direct. Doom Eternal adds everything. It adds giant levels. It adds so many more mechanics and shooting and balancing stuff that it gets a lot messier, but also... I think after playing it, it's hard to go back. So, Doom Eternal might be a better game, but Doom 2016 might be a better game. Doom Eternal sort of still improves on it, and then it's hard to go back to. So,
yeah, I tried to load up Doom 2016, and I think as mechanically and artistically, I really like the changes that they made in Doom Eternal. All the mobility they added. It's just adding in that side dash to get around, and the vaulting and almost like platforming elements. Just made that thing so frenetic. It was already a game with a lot of mobility in the first one, but now it's just crazy. You can spend so little time on the ground, especially when you get the grappling hook. You're just sort of zipping around things. It's crazy. And then the art style. As soon as I started comparing, especially say the Caca Demon, comparing the two versions, and you can see how they've, I almost want to say a little bit more cartoony, but
it's
really
more
it's
cartoony,
sort of yeah. It's the kind of thing where when you pop the eye out of a Caca Demon, it's got a little sound, like a little, cartoon.
Your special RTX AI took away your noise.
Oh, but thank you for doing it for me. So I actually think it's... I didn't finish the last Doom, 2016. I kind of ran out of steam on it. With this one, it's so varied, the environments that you go through. I was just hooked all the way through. It was one of those games that I just ended up kind of binging to get through.
That said, you're the only person I know that's finished it.
Oh, really?
Almost everyone else has burnt out. And whilst that's kind of a bad thing, it also is quite a long game. Burning out early still means that you might put in 16 hours or so and just I've killed a lot of demons at this point.
Yeah. Well, it did reach a point where I just knocked it down to easy too.
Yeah.
There's because that's just what I do. Like when it's a game I'm enjoying, if it gets to a point where I'm starting to get too frustrated, I'll just screw it, just knock it down. But like that was the long way through. That was I think like probably about maybe 2/3 through that I just decided, yeah, look, I'm enjoying this, but it's I don't want to replay the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, because I think at the moment I've got it down to like I was on like the second highest, and now I'm like on the equivalent of normal, and I feel like give me a couple more levels, and I might be dropping it down.
Yeah,
and then I mean I don't get any joy out of skyding about finishing something on a hard difficulty, but some of those fights can drag on for a long time, and the checkpoint is at the beginning of the fight.
Yes, yeah, because like you can die on easy. Like I still felt like on the easiest difficulty setting, it wasn't just like, oh yeah, this is a complete cakewalk.
It did strike me as a game that will be uncompletable for people that aren't good first-person shooter players.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I liked that the environments went a little bit Quake as well. I wasn't really expecting that.
It straight up started looking like a Quake level. I'm like, is this just like a joke? And it's like, no, we're just going for it.
Yeah, so I really liked that it was almost like a bit of like a neat love letter to just the whole like kind of old school shooter thing. Like I kind of don't feel like we need to have any kind of like remake of like Quake single player now. Like it was enough. It was like you've kind of given it to me already.
It was my one experience with it, because I haven't played it, is watching someone do the final boss, and the whole time I was watching it I was thinking, that boss wasn't there, this is just a deathmatch level.
Which they didn't.
And the respawns for like ammo and the shield and stuff. It's just a deathmatch level.
Which they didn't put deathmatch in.
Yeah, it's weird. That's not a multiplayer option.
Yeah.
So odd.
It's a bit disappointing that they didn't have the invasion stuff that they were talking about for release, because I think having real players being able to join matches, I think would have been a pretty fun option to have. Yeah, but I expect there's still some DLC coming for it, so I guess at some point they'll roll that into whatever new kind of story content. Having the lore to look through, I thought was pretty fun. Like you could just ignore it if you wanted to, but it's nice. Yeah. But it's nice that it's there. Like if you really care.
So let's talk about the shitty story. So what they decided, they took Doom, and then they said, wouldn't Doom be better if it was Warhammer? And then that's Doom Eternal. There's got a whole lot of factions taking themselves very, very seriously, and the Doom guys playing along more this time. I think people give Doom 2016 a little bit too much credit, because we like talking about how it's great how the Doom guy was so dismissive of the plot, and he smashes that screen at the beginning. He's giving you the mission briefing, and you just smash it and you walk off. Great moment. I think we can all say that's an amazing moment. Now, there's a reason everyone uses that example. Please list me another example from that game of the game ignoring the story.
Yeah, it doesn't really.
Yeah, you get locked in rooms and get to listen to bad guys do monologues for a few minutes at a time and not be able to do anything. But we all forget that because the intro was so fucking good at it. What I really wanted, all I wanted in this game, I wanted it make it more lore heavy, make it more people giving up and giving grand speeches about, no, you can't do this to the ancients, you're upsetting the balance, there will be primes to pay for this, blah, 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 blah. So don't do it in a cutscene, have it happen in game, and allow the player to leave. And then problem solved. or just take pot shots at them while they talk. Yeah, it's just like, hey, stop that. No, fine. Here, have the crystal. I don't care anymore. And just like move on.
When the villain's doing that big monologue, just let me shoot him.
Yeah, have some fun. Because I always thought that was a big fall of the last one as well. It started with that great moment, and I just remember just sitting in some room listening to Mr. Satan talk. No, what was his actual name?
Samuel Hayden.
Yeah.
So
I mean, great and terrible at the same time. What am I good? Yeah.
I mean, there are some amazing elements in it where regular humans see Doom Guy, and you just seeing like, because you just become this mythic godlike figure, because it's like people are reporting out about you. Like I like that you're hearing Resistance Radio where they're talking about Doom Guy. They just give you that name, like okay, Doom Slayer, the Slayer, or Doom Guy. And there's moments where you just see how everyone else in the world sees you. You feel really badass.
And there's the whole, it's the first or second level where it's on Earth, and there's like all the remnants of the battles that have happened, and it's so
Yeah.
like over the top Warhammer, just like giant mechs in total with giant demons and shit going on. And I mean, sure, what you're actually doing might just be, oh, here's the thing. What a bunch of gamey fucking nonsense this game is. Oh, there's just armor pickups and health and all this shit just where you pick them up, they make cool noises and, oh, go get a one-up guy, all this stuff. It's a video-ask video game. That's fine by me. I'm cool with that. Yeah, because I think even in 2016, they still like had like shards like would lie on the floor. Nope, now they just float on the ground and they're brightly colored, so you can't miss them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it works. It's a good video game. Yes. But again, I haven't finished it. James did. What did you think of the ending overall?
Yeah, pretty satisfied. They did like this little bit of like tease of what's coming in there. Like there's still like some unanswered questions of what's there.
One of them's a big robot that's unanswered.
Yeah, there's a big robot there.
And when I heard it doesn't do anything, I was very angry.
Because they make you look at that thing. Like you look at it. Like I assume that the climax would be doing something with that robot.
And while me saying that's a spoiler, I'm doing that as a public service announcement.
The robot is not used. I sorry, it's not.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like there's not many games I actually do play through to completion, and I did that one. So that says a bit about it.
Okay. I mean, I feel like there's lots to talk about. Like when we're talking about deathmatchy levels, there's these slower gates all through the game, which are like optional bonuses, which you kind of want to do. And those are just deathmatch levels. And with waves falling and you're doing runs, and they're some of the most manic fun things I've ever done, in a first-person shooter. And that's just a weird thing again, like why, when they've actually designed cool deathmatch levels, surely...
I do not have it.
At that point, when you've got the ability to have multiplayer, so there's multiplayer code in there because there is a multiplayer mode. Which have you tried it all, James?
No,
we should load it up. It's an asymmetrical thing where one person's the Doomslayer, two people control monsters, and it's a battle. It sounds interesting, man. So they can do multiple people. They have maps that are deathmatch levels. At this point, I'm kind of simplifying, but really, can't we just fix this with an ini file?
Yeah, it is. It was a strange choice for them not doing.
I feel like to do.
Well, I was going to say, and there's Doomslayer models, which you have lots of cosmetics you can choose to do. So that's all there as well.
You customize your Doomslayer. I feel like all someone needs to do is mod the current multiplayer that the people controlling monsters now control Doom guys.
Just like just spawns Doom guys. And
yeah, and you choose the Slayer gate levels. Done. Fix it. We've done it, boys. Yeah. Get that notepad. Get notepad open. Let's fix this game. Type. I need a mechanical keyboard just for the noise. Okay, let's move on because that's something we do. Let's talk about Half-Life Alyx. I'm doing this in kind of order games came out, if you didn't notice. James and I have played Half-Life Alyx. Have you played it at all, Sam?
No, my quest is still in postage limbo.
Those bastards. Okay. I am going to do one of my summaries again, because I like starting with a summary, and then I'll throw to James to talk about it some more. So, Half-Life Alyx, the huge VR, full-budget VR game coming from Valve. First Half-Life game in fucking forever. How exciting. Everyone's asking, wow, how did Valve solve all of these VR problems? And the answer is, they didn't. James?
Yes, I agree that they didn't. I was initially a bit disappointed that there was a surprising amount of jank. So one of the early things was there was some barnacles on a roof somewhere, things with the long things that will trap you if you hit them. I was like, oh, how do I deal with this? And there was a body. And I thought, okay, well, I'll grab the body and I'll kind of like feed it to the barnacle, and then I'll be able to kind of go underneath it. And while trying to move it, somehow a crate managed to kind of move on top of me, and I died. Like it was just like there was some weird physics glitch.
Some Trespasser X shit.
Yeah, there was some other thing with like there was a handle I had for a gate to open it, and it got jammed in the wall, and I couldn't get it out. Like it was like it broke the puzzle. Like there were still things that happened to me, kind of like surprisingly fewer as I went along. It was most of the jank that I encountered was early on. They haven't done much to solve like the nausea of up and down. So a lot of the times I close my eyes. Like say if I got to stairs, either I'd because you can still like teleport around pretty easily. So I'd either do that or I'd just close my eyes and kind of hold down forward and then open them again.
I found the ladders pretty good. I didn't get any nausea with the ladders.
Yeah, the ladders have a nice thing where you can you kind of push in the direction of the ladder and you get like a little reticle that fills up, and then when it fills up, you just kind of teleport up it.
What?
Yeah, didn't you know that?
No, I climbed ladders. I go like this.
Why would you not? If given the choice between the two, why would you not always climb the ladder?
Yeah, why would you not do this, James?
It's so much more fun. Look how much
because
fun.
nausea.
Because there is no nausea. It's fun. It's the best thing in the game. Do it with me, everyone.
That game I played for like 12 hours. No
up the ladder, up the ladder, up the ladder. That's the best part of the fucking game, those ladders. Yeah, my initial things were basically disappointed. One, we were like, what were they going to do for locomotion? What will their solution be? And their solution was the same as everyone else, which is you can do full locomotion if you don't get sick, but if you do, there's teleportation. Why can you teleport in Half-Life? Because it doesn't make you nauseous. That's not a really great reason in the video game, and it also means that certain things break and don't really make sense, because why can Alyx teleport around? Surely you'd have a game based around that an AI would deal with a teleporting person and such like that, not just lets you go around. You do kind of have a jump that's not technically a teleport, but it works fundamentally the same way. But what I disliked, and there's going to be some praise coming.
I've got a lot to talk about. We're just front loading it with.
Front loading with disappointed. It is the inconsistency of interaction, which is they've loaded a world full of physics objects and like it's nice and dense and it feels pretty good. And then you walk up to something and go, I'm going to grab. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Okay, so early in there is a lead pipe jammed in a door. Like, I'm going to grab this lead pipe, pull it out of the door, then I can open the door. I am now holding a lead pipe. Next thing up, there are some boards nailed to a door. Like, I'm going to smash these boards. I'll hit them with my lead pipe. The lead pipe does nothing. If you're holding this lead pipe and you go up to an enemy and you hit it, it will do literally nothing to it. There is no melee in this game, despite the fact there are lots of things to pick up and throw. It just does literally nothing. People can pick things up and throw them at you and it does damage, but not the other way around. But if you pick up, say, a barrel and throw it at someone and it bounces off them and hits you, it will do damage. So what they said is like, so there's no crowbar in this game. And the reason they said there was no crowbar is people would be holding the crowbar and they'd have it by their side and they'd be walking around and they wouldn't realize that they were hooking objects with the crowbar as they went around. I've got a solution for that. It's already in the game. It's a lead pipe. Doesn't have a hook on it. But instead they just decided to say no melee.
And just let that happen.
Yeah, or you just let it happen, and that's kind of the thing. There's a whole lot of restrictions. Like there's an early physics couple where you've got to turn a wheel and then jam something in it. But I wasn't jamming it into it at just the right orientation. Like it's still in physics world, in like the drawing in the world, in the models, it would have worked, but it just wouldn't function. It actually had to like, it didn't work in physics when it got into place. It worked like I put a key in like a less interactive video game and it inserted itself. I'm like, doesn't feel, and I could push, like if there was a chain fence, I could pick up an object on the other side and pull it through the fence because the physics jank would let me pull it through a solid object. I'm like, for something that is supposed to be so big and like this is, if someone said like, is this the thing that changes VR and people should get into it? I'm like, no, that's still Beat Saber. That's still these other experiences that are solid and accessible. There's too many arbitrary restrictions in this game for someone that isn't already invested in VR to get into it. I think.
To counter that,
go.
This is the experience that changes VR.
Yes. Please. I feel we're going to have an argument in a minute. I cannot wait.
So everything that you've said, I 100% agree with. Like there is all this jank and all this kind of stuff. There's someone.
There's Angeline. It's your mother-in-law. Hello, Angeline.
She says hello.
She's famous now.
Yeah.
Well, finally, someone on this show is.
Yeah. So, yeah, all these things that yes, this is. I think there are limits that I think this kind of gamey game in VR is going to hit, and this game kind of showed me that they're there. However, after about maybe 3 or 4 hours, I didn't care. I just kind of accepted that this is sort of what the game is, and it just became less of an issue to me. So yes, I think there were problems, but this is a game. This is like the best gamey game VR game that I've played. Like I didn't really think that there could be a 12-hour experience that I'd want to play in VR. I didn't think someone would figure out different ways to have me, because it's like in Half-Life 2, right? Like, you know, Half-Life 2 is very good at like going, here is a chunk of game with a certain thing about it. Here is another chunk of game with a certain thing about it.
Yeah, it's five games just after each other.
Yeah, and this does a similar thing. Like it keeps finding ways for me to go, oh, I hadn't really thought about doing this in VR before. And it was like this kind of new, interesting experience that I probably only really get in VR.
Can you give me a sort of early mid-game example of one of these?
There's like the Jeff, probably the Jeff levels.
Jeff's like the creature stalking you, isn't it?
Yeah. Where like I'm actually in a place being kind of hunted. Like it was a very different experience being in a like having this thing walking around where I have a good sense of place where I can look up and see it. Like it was just different than like normally in some kind of like horror game where I'd have that kind of scenario. I'm gonna kind of I feel like I'm fighting the game a bit. Like it's so obvious that it's like a game that I kind of lose interest in it. Like it's sort of like this weird duality where like I feel kind of constrained by the fact that it's a video game, but I'm also kind of stressed, and I just don't like it.
Okay, James, I've just got to cut you off there for a second. The other game we forgot about was Resident Evil 3. None of us have played it. There we go. Moving on. Back to James.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like as a game that you can kind of hold up, it's like, look, you're a core gamer. Can you experience the kind of thing you like in VR? Where the stuff that I've played before, like say like Red Matter or something, where it's like, you know, they're going for this kind of like sort of like an escape room style thing, but they're going for this like, here is a more lengthy experience thing you can play. I didn't like it. Like I didn't mind it early on, but then after a while, I just sort of like getting around the world I didn't like so much. I have nausea problems. This one did solve them enough. Like if those problems were there, they were less, and the game itself was compelling enough to kind of like get me through it. Like I was enjoying it so much, I played until my feet hurt. Like I didn't realize this was a VR problem, that I could play something so long.
It's still kind of a James problem.
No, well, standing on tiles for like 2.5 hours, you do end up with sore feet if you're bare feet. So now I'm looking for ways to fix it. It's like, well, I guess I've got to either wear thongs or like maybe I can find a yoga mat I can put on the ground or something like that.
They have those actual mats for what are they called? Yeah. For people that have to stand in, I think for 8 hours a day, because that's how long it takes a normal person to feel like that.
Like 2.5 hours, my feet were very, very sore. Yeah,
fun.
No, I think it's the best VR game that I've played. Like in terms of like your traditional, here is like a 12-hour experience that you're going to play through.
I need to give it more because it doesn't crack my top 10 at the moment, but it's still like it's got lots of cool bits. It's the inconsistency I have trouble with.
But
it isn't a game that I would give a new person to VR to play.
No, it's something where it's like it answered the question of, can you take a traditional like shooter and turn it into something which I would like in VR? Because so far, like up until that, the experience I've liked have been, Beat Saber or
Pistol Whip,
or and like I thought that would be the bulk of my VR experience. But Half-Life Alyx comes along. It's like, oh no, we can make this more traditional. Here is a 12-hour experience.
You say it's more traditional, and it is in many ways. What I find interesting is there's obviously a lot of people that do not have VR that are like, we're going to get this game modded so we can play it normally, the right way. Do you think this game might be the most boring first-person shooter possible if played not in VR?
Oh yeah, it's not. No, because in this in Alyx, like if you're fighting things, it's probably going to be 2 or 3. Like any more than that, and it's unwieldy.
Firing a gun is hard. It is.
Yeah, this is like.
Yeah.
This is something that I realized that like I am a terrible, terrible shot. Like this is much more analogous to firing a real gun because you got to point a thing at a thing and aim it. and
That thing's moving.
Yeah, I'm not just moving the cursor over the top of the head on my screen and clicking the button. I'm really good at clicking things, Paul. If you put me into Windows Explorer, I'm good at clicking files.
You go, boy.
I'm not as good at aiming at things. I'm kind of terrible at it.
Yeah, when I do get a bit of playing around with a gun and trying to dodge and shoot like a head crab, so it is, or that is more fun. That's what I'm enjoying. And the basic thing that we didn't, which is kind of their innovation, I've seen similar things, but not quite like this, is they've got the gravity gloves, and that's a tool you get very early in the game. The Russells, yeah, which basically allow you to point at an object, flick your wrist, and it flicks the object towards you, and then you catch it in midair. And so what this action is a way of not making you do micro teleports everywhere to get to something just to pick it up, but also means you feel really cool. It's like, oh, I want that clip for my gun, and you flick it up, and then you stick it in your gun, and oh, here we go, I'm ready to shoot you.
And there's a heavy amount of auto aiming on that thing.
Oh yeah, oh god, yes. You just general direction has got a little glow over it, flick, and it comes. No matter how you flick, it comes towards your hand. It's like we want this to be a cool experience, not a frustrating experience. Yeah. And even then, the hands interacting with the world, like being able to put your hands sort of up against things and they tend to touch things pretty realistically, that's enough. I actually find it, because we're using the Quest controllers, and the Index controllers do a little bit more finger tracking with it. I don't know if I'd like that more or less, because certainly when you start interacting with an object, the fingers are going to be doing very specific things in the game which can't match your real fingers. I've often found this with VR controllers. The very abstract of like grab or not grab, I kind of find more satisfying than trying to specifically pick up something a certain way, because it will never match it misses the feedback, it misses all the things. It's like, so really I just want it on and off most of the time. So it'd be good to get those Index controllers and actually see what the difference is. More complaints. So this is why I say, like, the game's so limited in its use of VR. So at the beginning of the game, you choose what hand's your gun hand. Why? It's a VR game. Why can't, if I'm up against a wall and there's the wall, like there's a creature coming to me from the left, why can't I put my gun into my left hand and shoot the creature?
And just grab it. Yeah.
Why do I have to move my body to get my right hand across to shoot it? Because the gun is just like, you can change weapons, but it is just fixed at all times in your hand. You can't drop it. You can't do anything. I
have a feeling they did. I think that was a deliberate choice because of that.
Well, it's obviously a deliberate choice, but it's like one of those things. Like, why can't you do it?
If I could have just done like a grab action or something to swap, would have been nice. Yeah.
Or even having holster options, because like other games, most games let you change hands. So you like holster the weapon, and then sometimes they just double up the weapons, and you like reach down to your hip, pull up the pistol, or something like that.
I'm actually, having played through it, I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Why?
Because I feel like it's an extra layer for me to fuck up. Like if I could say drop my gun, or I have to change my hands, or
let's say you can't drop it. Or it's a system like Robo Recall, where if you drop your gun, it doesn't matter because there's another one on your hip immediately.
Yeah. No, one of the big problems I have with VR is that I get clumsy and lost. And I do feel like if they'd add, because I'm sure they would have tried that.
Oh, I'm sure they tried everything.
I'm not convinced it would have been better. Just from like when I think about the places I stumbled with in that game, and the issues I have with VR, adding in that extra level of like even potentially swapping hands, I don't know. I don't know if that would have been better or not. Like it could have just made it clunkier for me.
I think where my disconnect comes with, and it's kind of something I've always had with video games. You can attest to my complaints of this nature. When you make something more realistic based, the more arbitrary your limitations on that, the more frustrating I find them. So if it was just like, hey, you know what? You're a weird space robot with one gun arm and a special tool on the other arm. I'm like, okay, I'm a weird robot. But when you're just a person holding a real gun, it's like, but this situation, and a world made of physics, a world that's in many ways trying to sell you on a realism.
I think, I know, it probably wasn't a problem for me because I just accepted it as a rule of the world. Like I figured it out pretty early.
Oh, eventually you do, but it's just like,
and then after a while, once I accepted that rule, I was like, oh, cool. It's not something I have to worry about now.
I guess
understand in this video game right hand or left hand, my choice, is my gun hand.
I guess it's because VR games, especially, I prefer ones that sort of run with systems. And Half-Life has been pretty systems driven along the way. They really debuted with physics and stuff like that. They push that sort of stuff. So the more restrictions you put on, it discourages experimentation. And experimentation is like where you find the fun in a system. Like already, I tried a bunch of things with like trying to like pick up like the armored head crabs so I could just pick them up and shoot them in the belly, and just I wasn't allowed to. I'm like, well, now I'm not going to try anything with head crabs. I'm just going to shoot them. It's like, isn't the fun like finding out this cool thing you can do?
I'm going to say yes and no. And like this could have been the decisions they made. Like it was, they kind of have this thing of like, do we want to make this emergent thing which is going to be janky? Do we want to make this streamlined thing which is hard to fuck up? And there's going to be some line that you draw there. You're going to have to land somewhere in there.
I mean, that is design, yeah.
I feel like this one landed more in the, look, we're going to do some things to stop people from fucking it up. We're not going to be like purely physics driven, because that was the experience I wanted to make. And I think I enjoyed the game more because of it.
But it is still janky.
But it would have been more janky. And it was already probably just this level of jank where I could just let it slide. There was still like, there's other things, like other examples I got through it where the jank just shit me. And I feel like if they'd gone even a little bit further, it could have been enough to turn me off. But it was sort of at this point where it's like, I didn't feel like I was fighting it too much.
Okay, Sam, who won this argument?
I'm not sure anyone won, but I feel like the tagline is Half-Life Alyx, just enough jank.
Okay, I think we've pretty much summarized. I think James has played more than me, because I have some performance issues as well, which I felt was strange because my computer isn't weak, and I was literally running Doom Eternal at 190 frames per second the day before. I'm like, I feel like I should have a consistent experience in Half-Life.
Yeah,
but
I had a few inconsistent ones. I found like shutting down Chrome seemed to help a bit. I started doing a thing where I just reset my PC, shut down all non-essential services, basically use a boot disk. Let's make this thing work well.
That was kind of what I was doing as well. And they've had a few patches now, and last time I played it was better. So we shall see. Also, I'm not Nvidia. I'm Radeon, so I was told it wouldn't matter anymore. I can't use it. I can't use James's fancy audio filtering AI.
Yeah, there's a fan blowing on it right now.
I can't choose to turn off ray tracing to make it run well again. That's just something that's not going to happen. Okay, let us move on. Maybe to a game that Sam has played and James has played, but Paul has not played. I'm just going to disappear. Final Fantasy VII Remake, spoiler-free edition. Don't you fucking say anything, dickheads.
I won't.
But I know them all. I know all the spoilers. So you can't spoil it for me, just for other people. I'm shrinking away now.
Well, how was your experience, James?
So I didn't play it. I
What?
watched Cheryl play it. So no.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I kind of played some sections of it. I played the early game, but this was sort of like it was like how Paul and I play Resident Evil. So
Erotically.
Ironically. So I haven't played much of it. I have watched a lot of it and watched kind of Cheryl play through it. And there were lots of things I like in it. So what are I guess some of the we want to stay away from anything kind of story related.
And no, actually, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Yeah. I mean, the general gist of Final Fantasy VII is known. Don't say anything.
I have something to say to that.
Yeah.
I have something to say to that, but there's also spoilers in that, so I'm going to stay quiet.
So, well, I guess. Okay, if we want to talk about it as it's a remake of Final Fantasy and how they've gone and kind of get the essence of what the original
game fleshed out.
is.
I guess that's
and fleshed it out. And so some of the things they've done that I really like is what they've done with the combat system. I think that they've kind of found this way to take that kind of ATB kind of experience of Final Fantasy VII, where you're waiting for your turn and kind of doing something, and the materia system as well, like taking the essence of that, but then kind of like mushing it up with an action combat system. So you kind of have this thing where like you're fighting a boss or something like that, and there's like a definite all doing with his camera.
I'm just pretending that I'm just reading my phone instead of listening to you, like as if you were talking about a Pokemon game. But I do like this game.
There'll be like a different strategy, like to kind of use your abilities to take down a boss. But then there's also like this kind of cool action combat part of it as well, where things like if you're going to peel off a spell, you got to worry about whether or not it's going to make contact or not. Like, will it hit something in the way, or if you're going to kind of pull off
hit during casting.
Yeah, like will you get casting? Yeah, there. I thought that was really cool that they've kind of like found a way to kind of keep the essence of that alive.
Yeah, it's sort of like expansion and twist on like Final Fantasy VII with like the Final Fantasy 15, but I felt like Final Fantasy 15 just they were close, but they didn't quite nail it to be satisfying. This one feels you got a lot more control. And that you can read what's going on more. That was the problem with 15, I think. There was just a whole bunch of shit going on everywhere. Had no idea what was happening most of the time.
Yeah. Like, it does feel like the baby of 15 and the ATB system. And it's come together surprisingly well. So
I do have a few issues with it, but for the most part...
Share those issues now, Sam!
The first thing I hate is how dumb the AI is. So for any character you're not controlling, they're pretty fucking stupid. And
it's a shame they didn't have co-op.
Like, I like that I can fully control what they do and when with the ATB side of things. What I don't like is that they're very, very stupid about avoiding enemy attacks. I reached a point where my playstyle now is constantly swapping between which character I'm controlling to make sure that everyone is doing the thing they're supposed to be doing. And I feel like I shouldn't have to micromanage it that much for the action side of things. The second issue I have with it is the fact that you have to use the ATB stuff to use items. And I can understand why, but that doesn't mean I don't hate it any less.
This is just like Blathers every day in the museum. Yeah. We understand why, but we still hate it.
Yeah.
But like the fact that if I'm low on health, I then have to go and attack in order to use a potion kind of annoys me.
Yeah, there's not that many ways to get your ATB up without actually engaging with
attacking
combat.
Or running around in circles and hoping you don't get hit.
Yeah. But like, I guess like apart from the combat system, like how have they gone and kind of fleshed out the kind of mid-year section of the game? Like I think it's a bit of a mix of stuff which does feel like filler and stuff which is sort of like well expanded on.
A lot of it, I believe, is stuff that they wanted in the original. Like it's storylines that they wanted to expand on a lot more and then either didn't have time or the technology didn't handle it the way they wanted to do it. So they've put in a lot more like expanded lore, as it were, around some of the characters you meet and a few things like that. And then there is a lot of like little filler things, like all the like extra side quests you can go and do, which they're filler, but at the same time, like it really makes the world feel more alive, I think. Because you're doing all this stuff, and there's a lot of like just random NPCs walking around that having their own conversations and doing whatever. Like it walking through areas of this game feels like I'm in a living world, which I think makes the story impact harder a little bit.
Yeah, like I think the one of the bits that really hit me of like what they've got out of this remake was after the intro, and there's like the big explosion. From the reactor, which is bigger than they planned, and just seeing the damage and the fallout from it.
Yeah, like the damage and the responses from civilians. And
real. Where I'm sure if I went back and played the original Final Fantasy, that bit would have been just walking through some static screens. Maybe there would have been a couple of NPCs. Like, I mean, I can't remember. It's been so long since I played the original. But really, like, I appreciated the damage a lot more. Like, that was one of the things where I thought they've really kind of expanded on those original themes in a way that's adding a lot to it.
I am personally, I grew up watching my brother play the original and then played it myself far too much. So my nostalgia level for this is through the roof, and I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job with remaking it. And the key word there is remake, not reboot. I think that they have actually remade it. And kind of all the extended stuff that's been really nice. lots of surprises that aren't from the original that have been interesting to figure out. It's been a fun ride, I think.
Mm.
And I'm going to borrow it from James one day.
Good time. When you're allowed to actually see him.
I saw him today.
Yes.
I didn't touch him though.
Ah.
I wasn't allowed.
We touch feet.
We did. I like the double tap.
The Wuhan tap, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I don't like doing left foot, right foot. No, I just like go double left foot. That's the way to go. It's like it's not too showy.
Seems right.
Yeah. I had to go help James with his car. So because obviously when there's car problems, Paul's the one to call.
The first person that comes to my mind.
Exactly. I mean, I'm so traditionally masculine. So yes, Final Fantasy VII has done well and is a cool game, and we can't say other words.
Yeah, the only thing I will add is that there is so much more I want to talk about it that I can't because spoilers. I am waiting patiently for Alyx. I am possibly waiting for James to finish it so that I have someone I can have a discussion with.
We'll talk later.
At some stage.
And whilst I haven't played it, I know what you're talking about, so let's continue. Yes, while the way they've expanded through the original is interesting. Let us move on to something else. What is something else? Let's say, what else is still here in the news? So, I believe last episode, they hadn't really spoken about Baldur's Gate 3 yet. So it's coming to early access.
Yeah.
And that was what we weren't really expecting, because it seemed a bit, this is an established company with a big license behind it. Why would you need to do early access? They have explained themselves somewhat more that it's sort of the first chunk of the story, but they are limiting the number of classes you can do.
I think it's a smart thing to do with what they're doing.
They did a similar thing with Divinity, didn't they?
It worked very well with Divinity too, yeah. It worked out well for them in the end. Because it gives them a chance to fully flesh out the mechanical side of things, which is what they really need for a Dungeons & Dragons game.
Yeah, because do they want this to almost be not really a pen and paper replacement, but like just another avenue for people to run games?
They haven't commented on that side of things yet. They've said they're not going to. But my argument has always been Divinity 2 has a GM mode in it. There's no reason Baldur's Gate 3 won't. Where you can make your own maps and someone runs a game in the game and has control of like dropping extra enemies in and stuff like that. So running it like as a system where you can play D&D, I think it'd be stupid if they didn't do it, but they haven't announced anything. But as far as the actual gameplay, like the storyline side, like it is literally going to be 5th edition D&D in game form. And from what they've shown, they're on the ball for that.
Yeah. Like I kind of wonder, like as a DM tool, if it could be something where we kind of have like this hybrid system where, you know, like you can play through some of the game as like a traditional D&D experience, but then maybe you want to have a combat encounter or something like that, and you can like quickly hobble together like I've got these pre-prepared scenarios you can drop someone in, and then the combat can just sort of go off
like mini encounters as opposed to like the full campaign.
Yeah. So sort of have some bits offline, but then it's like, we want to have this combat, and it's like, well, that part we can just let the video game handle that bit.
Offload to the game.
Yeah.
That's always the bit that takes the longest in regular D&D. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, could that actually streamline for someone like me who the combat is sort of like not my favorite part of it? It's like, but if it's just a video game, it's like, well, at least it's over quick.
Potentially.
Okay. So. I believe last time we haven't officially announced that Death Stranding was coming to PC yet. It's coming to PC. It seems like ancient news now. Yeah. Also, we missed an ancient debate. So here's super fast debate time. Okay, here we go. GeForce Now. Remember GeForce Now? No one's spoken about it in a month or so, but it's there. GeForce Now was GeForce's lovely streaming service, which allowed you to play practically any Steam game you wanted remotely running off their servers. Then a bunch of publishers started pulling their games off it, which basically was the fact that you might be able to see it, but you weren't allowed to launch it. And then Indie Dev, the developer of The Long Dark, pulled it off, and they got the most abuse out of everyone for pulling it off there, which is always the way it seems to go. It's like, they're a smaller fish to attack. Let's get them. I, however, am firmly in the camp of the attackers. I think they did the right thing in their abuse and should, well, maybe not that far. But yes, my quick take on it is that it is just a rented computer. 100%.
Yeah,
to the extent, I have a very funny story. Sorry, I cut you off. So we didn't understand how much this was just a computer running Steam. I was reading someone that they were testing it out and sort of, I'm going to try out Hitman 2. So they logged in, selected Hitman 2, started playing it. It ran awfully. It was abysmal. It was like 3 frames a second. It looked like shit. It's streaming in. Then he realized that he had Hitman 2 installed on the computer he was playing on. GeForce Now was remote playing the version on his computer, then streaming it back to the computer that he was playing it on. That's how much this is just Steam running on another computer. But anyway, continue.
I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot by not making that obvious enough. I think from the consumer experience, it was still like a service that you logged onto and you started the game. Where if it had been something where I saw a Windows desktop, and
they should have just launched it. They're launching it as a game streaming service. It's gone, like, we've launched a remote access service if you want to use our computers.
If I loaded it up and all it did was open up big picture mode, it'd be like, oh, okay, like I'm just in a remote PC. But they did have their own wrapper around it, and that, I think, that's where it kind of shifted into something of like, oh, but now is it a platform? Like, no, it is still just your own like remote
but
PC.
James, this brings us back to Half-Life Alyx. If you just make it look like a PC, all the restrictions are going to get in the way and stop you from enjoying the experience.
Yeah. But like, I think like they're kind of making this argument of it is, just a remote PC, and that is the way I saw it. Like, it's like, oh, like, why shouldn't I? It's like, if I hire a remote PC, why can't I just use its processing power and like just log in and just download my own stuff and whatever? But
and that said, in Blizzard's EULA, they actually disallow people using such services. Now, whether that would hold up in a court, that's for someone to test. I don't think it probably would. But
and so I can kind of see where it got kind of muddy. Like, let's just say you had an exclusive deal with Stadia, and then suddenly, your game shows up on GeForce Now. It's like, well, have you violated that agreement? Like, so I can kind of see where like it is a bit.
There is some murky waters there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, the consumer in me just wants it to be, it's just a remote PC, and then hopefully that we get some data centers somewhere, at least in Sydney in Australia, and I might actually use it. That sounds really cool. But yeah, I mean, as a dev, I can also see where it's like, what if I signed a contract with someone and that's just violated it and no one spoke to me about it?
Sam, you got to have your 30-second debate.
My opinion is that, like, it's the same as James pretty much. Like, if it's just a remote desktop, it's still your games, your copies, because there's nothing stopping you from spinning up a virtual machine on AWS on the Sydney data center and doing the exact same thing. You might pay more for it,
and it will run worse.
And it will run worse because it's not specifically built to do it, but it'll work and it'll be basically the same thing.
I remember at PAX last year, James was playing Destiny 2 from his PS4 up in Brisbane. I was like, do you really need to do this? But hey, it works.
Yes, I did. It did.
Okay, so that's out. Right. We've gone back to a debate from 2 months ago now, and I think we've nailed it. We've nailed it. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else worth noting. I stopped adding news to this. There was a Nintendo Direct. I can't remember what was in it now. Rogue Legacy 2 was announced. I'm just excited because I love Rogue Legacy. There was a very funny new Cooking Mama game, which got less exciting the more we found out. But basically, Cooking Mama was released and then that evening removed from the eShop entirely without any word around it. One of the early press releases talked about Bitcoin mining, and because apparently the game runs awfully and makes your Switch heat up like a motherfucker, people became convinced that there was a Bitcoin miner involved in the game, which there isn't. But boy, it would be funny if there was. It actually comes more down to a license violation from the license rights holders that basically said, look, the game you made is too shit to qualify for release according to our contract. And the other company saying, we release anyway. Money, please. Including, apparently, they've announced a PS4 version. And the license holder is like, we certainly do not permit a PS4 version to be created and released. They're like, money. So I think there'll just be some really rare like people are loving getting a physical copy of it because it's now like a hot item, even though the game is fucking awful. Which I've got to say, all Cooking Mama games are kind of fucking awful, but this one even more so. Yeah, what fun.
Are you saying the collections of minigames aren't that good, Paul?
No, I like the collection of minigames. My problem with Cooking Mama is that it allows no creativity or choice on the player's part. Like, if I've got a cooking game, I want to be able to, like, choose the ingredients I put in or something and have that some sort of effect.
I feel like we're having the exact same Half-Life Alyx conversation again.
Oh, shit. It's over and over again.
It's a little bit deja vu.
Like Battle Chef Brigade or something like that. It's a cooking thing, but it's a puzzle and something. Like, or in Cooking Mother, like, the speed you stir, actually, not just that it matters, it counts the amount of times you spin it, and then, like, you can't fail it. You've just got to spin it 20 times, and then, you've done the spinning part. Like, Cooking Mom is just nothing. It's like, whatever. And this is a bad one. So...
I know. I've never actually enjoyed one.
I am with you. Sam, have you ever enjoyed a Cooking Mama game?
I don't think I've ever played a Cooking Mama game, so I feel like I've won out here.
I might have the first one on DS because I was convinced it would not be terrible because it was new and on the DS, and I love the DS. I owned so many DS games. I sold like 100 of them and I still had like a big pile.
Remember that little like virtual analog thumb attachment they had in the original DS?
Oh, the thing
wasn't that for the 3DS?
Side?
No, the very original DS.
There was one for the original, yeah.
I remember it came with the like the original silver one. It came included in there, and it was like this little like attachment to your thumb.
The thing you put on your thumb.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you meant the analog stick on the side that they added on the.
No. And the idea with the little thing in your thumb was it's like this is going to give you the analog experience. It did not give the analog experience.
No, it did not. But boy, howdy, I love that submarine demo. And then I think they eventually released it as a full game on 3DS, and I didn't play it. On the DS, because I used to have a bunch of demos, which you'd go to stores and everything, and you'd remote play download them to play them. But
Steel
you could.
Diver, right?
Beg your pardon? Yeah, Steel Diver. Yeah.
Steel Diver.
Yeah. Did you say something else originally? Did you say Deal Diver?
No, Steel Diver.
Yeah, it's Steel Diver. But yeah, so I had a wireless card in my PC simply to use it as a hotspot so I could transmit the demos so I could keep playing them because I love playing the demos so much.
I did that for a while with the Street Pass.
Oh, did you?
3DS. Yeah, I set up a second router as a Street Pass hotspot. My house was a Street Pass place. That was connected online to everyone else who had done it. So it wasn't just, it didn't have to be someone walking past my house.
Yeah.
It was just someone else who had it set up. Great. All those
brave new worlds.
Yeah. I did load up my my 3DS the other day. And I do feel like there is something lost from that form factor. Like just that kind of clamshell, like feel in the hand, the weighting of it. Like, I mean, I love my Switch. But
I still have mine sat on my desk.
Yeah, there is still something about that. There she is. Your baby one.
Wait a second.
This one has had four owners, and I am the first and fourth of the owners.
Let's wait a second.
I don't have one within reach.
See, Paul's just flexing now. Just DS flexing.
Nah, let's not get all my DSs out. I got a lot of DSs.
It made me hope that one day Nintendo goes back to that clamshell design.
There has been rumors, completely unfounded.
So 100% correct.
They're gonna
two-screen Switch.
Second screen at the top, fold it down.
There is
beautiful
rumors. They're completely unfounded rumors because people have found a.
Speaking of Switch rumors,
a hardware ID that doesn't match up to the current syntax for hardware IDs.
But wouldn't that just be
wow,
the potential Pro?
Switch. Yeah, potentially.
I really want a Pro because my Switch could use a boost. Anyway, speaking of Switch rumors, very, very, very strong indications that this being a big Mario anniversary year, they are doing a big Mario anniversary thing, and it's kind of their thing for the year. And that thing they are doing is basically re-releasing every 3D Mario game. So that is supposed to be 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, and the Mario World game. I don't know about Land. I didn't hear that one thrown in. But yeah, and most of those, the rumor is a package has those. So basically Super Mario All-Stars 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be more of a remaster than just a port. So it actually sounds like a fuckload of content to me.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those sound like they would need changing to work on the Switch.
Yeah, well, Sunshine requires analog triggers, which do not exist on the Switch, so they might have to do some changes with the controls there. They might even be able to fix the camera a bit, make that game a bit better. I think Galaxy would be fine. The motion controls don't do a whole lot in Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's like you got the waggle to do the spin. That can be a button. When I played it emulated, we made it a button. It worked fine.
Well, I guess Galaxy made a big deal of like pointing the Wiimote to collect the stars and stuff like that.
Yeah, which wasn't really particularly important, but you also could just touch the screen. Yeah. And the thing is, you don't. You actually can still do that with the Switch. Other games have used a controller. You just have the. So if the Switch was docked, so you couldn't touch the screen, you could take the controllers off, and you can. The Joy-Cons work just like the Wiimote. It will do 3D tracking, so you can still point at the star pieces. Yeah. So I think that will all be good. Be interesting.
So was it last year that was the year of Luigi?
Yes, and this is the year of Mario.
Yes. So next year, the year of Star Fox.
I don't know. No. It's certainly not going to be the year of Metro Prime Trilogy being definitely released on the Switch, which has got to be that rumor that will never die. I mean, they should do it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it will never happen. Because that also requires a whole bunch of work. Because it's like, especially Metro Prime 3, because that had all these like motion control actions that you did. And like, you've got to do some actual game change design there. Nothing that I think is insurmountable, but they've got to do some work. Anyway, what video games do we have? There's a big video game that we were all very excited for, and I believe we all played, and we all liked, and we all probably stopped playing at different parts. That game was called Murder by Numbers. Dun dun dun. Murder by Numbers. I haven't
stopped playing it yet.
I mean, I haven't stopped. I just haven't played it in a while. Is that the same thing?
I did 3 puzzles last night.
So Murder by Numbers is basically a Phoenix Wright style adventure game, except your interactions with the world are cross puzzles. And the writing is very charming and fun. I've really been enjoying that. And the cross puzzles are very well paced at the beginning, I would say, but then probably by about halfway through the game, they are just hard all the time. And I really wish they would give me some that aren't 15 by 15 and have more than a couple of numbers that can be solved.
I'm really... one of the things I love about Picross is how intricate the solving solutions end up being. Like, I actually find if I haven't played Picross for a while, it's really hard to go back because the strategies on figuring out like overlaps because like eventually you get things where there's not enough numbers to be obvious, and you have to start even just looking at combinations and figuring out all permutations of those particular things to figure out like what can you definitely get. So it's like the kind of what you have to do for the solutions gets to a point where it's like it's a skill. And it's easy to lose that skill and can kind of forget about it. It's one of the things that I've liked going back to a Picross game because I used to play a lot of just regular Picross. Didn't have back on DS didn't have a visual novel over the top of it. But yeah, like I remember now like all these strategies that I figured out of like how do you figure out with this row like where there is clearly not enough information. And I also found like as I got more of these puzzles which require these kind of like bigger leaps to figure out like what's in a particular row, it's so much easier to fuck up.
You should never take a leap, James.
And it's only you won't realize it until you get right to the end. Like the number of puzzles where I've gotten to like the last row and it's like, oh, that doesn't work.
There's only 3 numbers here, but there's 4 gaps. Fuck.
Well, I have an error somewhere. Delete the puzzle. Start again.
But Picross may be one of the more unforgiving puzzles to recover from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless the mistake was quite recent, it's like there's a lot of steps to work out where you made a false assumption and then work it out.
Yeah. It's so easy to do. And it is just building off previous moves as if they're correct. And it's just so easy to fuck it up.
I would say...
found,
Oh, sorry.
I found when playing it a lot, like this is the first time I've ever touched Picross in any form. So it was a nice little intro to the puzzle thing, and it hooked me in pretty quickly. But I found I recovered from a couple that I messed up on, and then like the later on puzzles, it reached a point where like if I fucked up and I hit the end of a puzzle and there was a mistake, I just quit and stopped playing for the night. Like that was it. I'm done.
No, you delete
I'll
the
come
file.
back to this tomorrow. Like I just completely stopped. Yeah.
It's like first night I played, I did like the entire first case. Second night I did like half the second case and everything. And then it's like I think I'm on the fourth case. There's 5 cases all up, aren't they? I'm not on the last case.
There's 4, I think.
I think it's 4 total.
Maybe I'm on the anyway, whatever case I'm on now, it's like I'm just like it was like
one puzzle.
yeah, I'll do like 20 puzzles and now it's like no, one's enough, thanks. That takes enough time. And it's just because I do enjoy the writing and I am enjoying the characters and that is what drives me to want to continue. My gaps of getting that writing is now between so many just puzzles and what they do is as you go through the levels you rank up and that gives you access to bonus puzzles and those bonus puzzles are going to add some background story, so the part of me that enjoys the story is like, oh well, I want to do all these bonus puzzles, and at the beginning they give you like, I don't know, the first one has like 10 bonus puzzles you go through, but the point I am now, there's like 20-30 bonus puzzles and they're all hard as balls, so each of those takes like 40 minutes to an hour to do or something. It's like I'm going to put in like 30 hours to see this fucking bit of story that might just be pointless and extra.
I did kind of give up on those. I was like, no, I'm putting enough time into the mainline puzzles. I don't feel like I need those extra ones.
And also, as a general complaint as well to the game, which I really, really enjoyed this game. I think it's great fun. I just got worn down by it eventually. The Picross puzzles don't look like anything.
Yeah, that's my big complaint as well. That the actual, like, as you're solving it, you don't know what it is. It's like there's no this element of like, oh, I'm figuring out. It's cool. It's a fox. Okay, that's fun. It's like no, it's just a mush of pixels, which makes it harder to realize when you've messed it up because it is just a mush of pixels. It's not obvious when you've screwed it up.
Yeah, I think maybe what I would have liked is if they had. So basically, in the game, you're this woman who's an actress on a detective TV show, and then mission comes up. But this robot comes and finds her, and the robot's sort of like the meta story going on, and he's sort of been thrown out, and he has no memory, and so the concept of the game is that you find clues, and he scans them with his visual filter, and that's you doing the Picross puzzle to work it out. So what I kind of would have liked is at the beginning doing these puzzles and working up, and then maybe in the second half of the game they go into other Picross puzzles, which include multiple colors. Something like that. So it's like his sensor got upgraded or something. So like, oh, now we're getting a slightly different kind of Picross or something like that. But it's just the same monochromatic Picross the whole time. And once it gets hard, it stays hard. I would have liked a bit more ebb and flow. Like as I start a new episode, I mean, it does get a little bit easier again. Like it's not the beginning of the next episode isn't as hard as the end of the episode before it, but it doesn't go back to easy. Like it goes to very hard and then just to hard and then yeah. So it's something. Like doing a fast Picross puzzle, I actually quite like those timed ones, which are really just like using your basic like I know these patterns. You say blah 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 blah. That's kind of fun because easy, but there's still a bit of pressure on it. I would have liked a little bit more like just give me an easy one for fun. Doing the action is fun.
I guess I have the hint system there, but I don't like using the hint system.
I actually I moved to using the hint system full time, but there's a hint system that turns on like row coloring and stuff, and that stuff doesn't penalize here. It just tells you.
There's one. I think that there's one that just tells you when it's complete, not whether it's right or not.
No, it never tells you if it's right. It tells you if a row has enough information to make a choice of some sort. Nothing about what that choice is. But especially when you're doing 15 by 15, and there is very sparse information, just parsing those 30 possible.
I feel like it's almost necessary on those ones.
Yeah, because it's just like I just spent 10 minutes
quickly.
trying to work out where my starting point was, where you can just push that button and like, well, I can do those rows and I can count this
so
out.
I definitely turned that one on because it was just nice to know where to start.
Yeah, I've never used any of the other ones, which I think is just a. I think one gives you like random filled-in spots, and I think one gives you like an error checks you and shows you where errors are. So I've never actually pushed those buttons, but I assume they work as advertised. Yeah. Okay, so that was a cool little game, and we were all playing on Switch, weren't we? I think it's only on Switch.
Yeah. It doesn't support touchscreen, which was weird.
Yeah, I find it weird the amount of games on Switch that should support touchscreen and don't. Even just like Animal Crossing, like I'll go to type something and I can use the touchscreen on the keyboard, and I go great, and then I go okay, so now I'll hit the send to James button, okay, and it's not touch interactable.
Yeah, I get it when it's like I want to send Paul a thing, like, and I type it, and then like you tap the add present button, and like, oh, that's right, that part isn't touch for reasons.
It's just it's like so many developers forget that it's a touchscreen.
Yeah, and it's like first party Nintendo. You'd think that someone during playing that game would have done exactly the thing that we've done.
Yes, exactly, and would be such a minor thing to include, like. I mean, like it's not like a line of code, but it might be. Like,
it's not far from a Paul. Detect input if on button.
Yes, but they have to have the button set up to do that. It's like can it detect one?
Done it with the keyboard.
Yeah, because it's still an in-game keyboard. It's not like the system keyboard.
Yeah, it's not the overlay.
Oh, I just mean when you're off the keyboard and it's just like then the screen afterwards where there's an OK button. They have to define that button as a thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's the hardest thing. I'm just saying it's more than one line of code. It's several lines of code. Anyway, let's move on to some things. One more like fun little one that I know Sam and I just played. We like Murder by Numbers was our Phoenix Wright crossed with Peggle. We also had a game. Oh, not Peggle. I just blew my load. For Cross, we also had a roguelike crossed with Peggle, Roundguard, which got a little bit of exposure. I thought it was like a really under the radar, and then saw lots of people talking about it, which is kind of what it sounds like, which is Peggle gameplay. You sort of shoot down a ball and it bounces around, but you're going through a dungeon that's randomly generated, and there's all these roguelike elements, and you have different characters you take in, and they all have special abilities. So basically, your basic gameplay goes, you have your character with stats, you have a special ability, which I think it's right mouse button. Is that how you normally activate it, Sam? Oh no, it's on Switch. I'm playing on Switch too. Yeah, it's just a button to activate your special ability. I don't know why I thought right mouse button. But there's enemies that you're fighting, and when you hit an enemy, you do the damage appropriate, but they also hurt you. So you've got to hit health potions, you get mana potions, you can do spells, and all this sort of job. How did you go with it, Sam?
I quite enjoyed it. I think I hit a point with it where there were a few little things that made me really miss Peggle.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it
was an ode to joy.
A little bit, yeah. The other thing is like in Peggle, like you can shoot and it'll like you can have the ball like slide along pegs. Like this is all bouncing.
Yeah, that is 100% my problem with the satisfaction of the game. You never get that
bouncing.
Yeah,
so
you
like
never get that really satisfying like run of points that like, oh look, everything's gone. I've got it all in one hit. It's just that.
It almost feels like I'm playing pinball Peggle.
Yeah,
add like a genre in there. But for the most part, it's done a good job. The roguelike elements, I think, work fairly well. I've played it enough now where effectively once you finish a run, depending on how many points you got, which is the gold in the game, there's this wheel that spins, and that gives you an item to start with on the next run, like a passive ability, basically, which you can also collect throughout the game.
You put on clothes.
Yeah, you can get new armor, new weapons. They all have different abilities and features attached to them. So you've kind of got that. Like if you get a weapon, you're choosing whether you want to stick with the one you've got or swap to the new one. So there's some choice in there, and there's quite a bit of strategy going on, I think, depending on how you want to build your character.
One of the things you get is you get a dungeon map, So you can sort of see generally. So at the end of each level, there'll be a few paths out, and you can see, okay, well, if I go along this path, I'll be able to get a new weapon or something like that. So you can make those choices of where you want to explore.
A lot of those roguelike things, the map and the dungeon layout and the items, they're very, very similar to Slay the Spire. In fact, the map itself is pretty much a Slay the Spire map. Like it shows you the entire pathway, and if you go left, then you go down this route. If you go right, you go down this route. And like a lot of the strategic choices feel the same. And where in Slay the Spire, you're deciding which cards to keep and which cards to throw away to build like a strategic deck around a certain idea. This is much more simplified. Your skill, your weapon, your armor is your strategy.
Yeah.
And like you can build one where, like I had a run the other day as the warrior, and my main skill was a homing shot towards the nearest enemy, and it did a double hit. And then I got armor that gave me mana every time I used it. And then I could just use it like 8 times in a row and level complete in one shot.
Nice.
But I take a lot of damage at the same time. So there's a lot of different like little mini builds you can do, which I think is nice. It keeps the gameplay fresh because there's only 3 characters you can play as.
Is it only 3? I thought they might have unlocked more.
I haven't seen any extra unlock or added. It's just the warrior, the mage, and the rogue.
Yeah, I would say basically I think it's a really good design. Probably just it's that another pass that would just give it a bit of better feel, like we were talking, like not having the slides. Yeah. It's just not super satisfying in the way you interact with the world. It's clever, it's got a lot of really good ideas to it, and it is fun. I am enjoying the game, but just not enough that it gets its hooks into me, because I don't get those pops. I don't get those poker machine like excitement pop moments and everything.
It's
no
well
joy,
but there's no juice.
Yeah, it needs juice. Juice it up. Come on, Raimi.
Need some ode to joy.
Exactly.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's crazy how much like
slow motion though. It does the slow motion.
Yeah. As much as like we bring up the ode to joy and everything, like it is iconic. Like
it's just remembering that made me want to go play Peggle again.
Yeah. It hits those receptors in our brains that go, yeah.
My monkey brain likes it a lot.
Exactly. Okay, so have you guys been playing any isolation games?
As in just stuff, like what do you mean? Like, yeah.
I mean, like things because of the isolation. So I'll say, like for
that's
instance,
Animal Crossing. That's my safe space.
Well, I actually mean so multiplayer games, really. So games that I've started playing because other people are there. Yeah. So I had 2 that I was going to throw out there. One was Scribble.io, which is basically just it's a drawing game. So both these games are going to say are website ones, so they're really, really easy to run out. So Scribble.io is everyone joins up, there's a chat window, and then one person is nominated to draw something. They start drawing, there's a timer, and then everyone in the chat window can write what they think it is. If it's correct, it doesn't show what they guessed and it just ticks them off. But also you can chat in that chat window. So what that window becomes is everybody guessing what it could be, making jokes about what it could be, and talking, and then everyone like clicking on as they get it. If everyone, basically the drawer gets points for people getting it, and also the people that guess it get points because they got it right. So the scoring system doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We don't really give a shit, but it's one of those like some people play on a tablet, some people on a phone, some people on a computer. It just works because it's a website, and it was just like literally, people were laughing so hard just screwing around with that. And you just come and go as you please. It's just like a room code, like a Jackbox thing. It costs nothing. It's just got an ad running. That's it. And the other similar one, which was called playingcards.io. And this is a playing card like tabletop simulator. It's like Tabletop Simulator, except it's a website and it's free. It's a little bit more abstract. But one of our friends yesterday was like, do you want to play Cards Against Humanity? And inside I said, no, I don't, because that game's not very good. But they just have it on part of this. And we just set it up. And it's kind of funny. Like Tabletop Simulator, anyone can like grab stuff and move it around and fuck up the game if they really want. That's kind of what's fun about it. So like there's a draw pile and we're all trying to grab from the pile and like, no, that's my card. And you put it in your... Yeah. As people were coming and leaving the game, I was like adding new places just as an edit tool to like... And you can basically you put like card places and new cards and everything out. It's a good little system. But as I say, both of these are just free websites. and they're really good to get. Like weirdly, because like I'm now middle aged and half the people around me have families, we're actually doing stuff more now that we're all isolated. It's like because the other one, which doesn't need much explanation, is I was streaming Jackbox games from my computer, and then we were all sitting at home chatting and playing Jackbox together.
Yeah.
So
that's a good
stuff.
one.
Yeah. So I spoke a lot. What about you guys?
I guess we played Drawful as well.
Yes, we did Drawful.
Which is basically Scribble.io, but a bit more structured.
I've been playing a lot more regular video games with other people, which is something I don't do that often. Obviously, the three of us have been playing some stuff.
Yes.
We all picked up Risk of Rain 2 and Vermintide 2.
Vermintide, yeah.
It's been fun.
Risk of Rain 2 was a free weekend, and we're like, well, we'll give it a shot. What could it hurt?
Yeah. And then we all bought it.
Yeah.
And we weren't really Risk of Rain fans.
No, yeah, it was good.
No, well, yeah, because I didn't even... Yeah, the first one I played a bit and didn't like it. But Risk of Rain 2, I ended up as a weird bug guy who was constantly in the air with like 15 jumps.
It is like the way those builds work. So it's roguelike, but I've played... I think we've all played a little bit of single player, but it's way more fun multiplayer. It is just each level is... Find the portal, activate a boss, fight it, and get out of there. Now, there are other things, as we played it more, discovered in the levels. There's like secret things and fun little mechanics that we're discovering as we go along. But as you go along, you're constantly adding passive items to your build. So they've said that there's a bar at the front, that's at the top of the screen, that shows the items you have. And that thing is just unreadable. It's just so full of crap that's going on in the back. So many systems on systems and getting weird interplays together, and you feel like you're the most powerful thing in the world until suddenly you're dead.
Until you die.
You make one mistake.
It's
Well, I did really like that. So far, every game I've played has felt really different, and then each class I play feels really different. Like it's not just like the classes are very unique, and then the builds you get out of those classes are very unique.
Yeah, they're all very different. At least the ones I've unlocked so far. Pretty cool.
And it's still early access, so there's still a lot more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not normally one for getting early access games. I like to wait until things are complete. But this one, there's a lot there. There's a lot there right now.
And what I like is the game is designed to run on a potato, which is great. So I pretty much I can run it at 140 frames on pretty much full settings. But there's something I didn't like much about the art style. So I turned the texture resolution down to like, I think it was like 132 of the art. Yeah. I'm like, I kind of like it better like this. It's like, it's chunkier and like it just runs like an actual dream. It's a cool game. Cool game.
I did find when there was a lot going on, it did start taking its toll on my PC because there ends up being a lot going on in that game.
You should try turning the texture resolution down incredibly low. So it's a good choice. Otherwise, we went back and we played some Vermintide 2, which I think most of us already had, but I never played it.
Yes, because this sort of came out because we played World War Z,
and we were like, let's play a better game.
Yeah, and it was sort of like, this reminds me of Left 4 Dead, but not as good. And we should play something that's like Left 4 Dead, and we ended up landing back in Vermintide 2. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it going back. Like, I remember liking it okay. But I think this time I figured out the classes a little bit more.
As soon as you got that Berserker or whatever it was.
I'm so jealous. Because I thought I was the melee character, and now I barely get kills because James just runs around and everything dies instantly.
Yeah, and what I love with the Slayer is that it's like you've kind of got two choices with how you want to run with the Slayer. You can either go dual wield or you can go like two-handed weapon. And I found going dual wield, my finger got sore because of so much clicking. But with dual wield, with two-handed, where you're trying to get this big swing because it's like the build is around getting multi-hits to generate temporary health, and that's what keeps you alive. You're just running around in temporary health. You end up with almost like this rhythm game of like there's like pulling back the sword, the camera kind of primes, and then it releases, and you just sort of like go between left and right of like just these sweeping blows, and it almost feels like a dance. Like you're just going from like swing to swing to swing. and it feels really good. Like it has some really fun melee combat in it. And I'm normally not that much for melee combat in first person, but Vermintide, there's enough going on with like how you do the swing and like where the swing hits and
the way they explode
and then there's the way the heads come off, and that feels really good. It's real fun. Then I think they did a lot to fix the loot system. I remember playing early on, and I was getting like a lot of drops and things to my class that were kind of useless. Where I don't know. Now it felt like I was doing stuff. I was either breaking down the items I was getting, because I get a lot of it, to try and get something I want, or else just getting something I used. Like I wasn't as disappointed by the loot when I got it. Though it did take a long time to claim. You know, like when you get all those
one thing at a time.
And I was like, yeah, you gotta open that thing one at a time.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, if you want to put hours into that game, there is shit to unlock forever.
Yeah.
But also, it's fun just to grab a class and jump in and just play from the beginning, which is good. It has that long tail for the people that are into it. Because I dislike a lot of multiplayer games that are based on class and builds, because it feels like you've got to put in a lot of hours before the game becomes interesting. But I thought this just handled it really nicely. It's like the game ramps up as you go along. You want to be more powerful, and then you can always jump back and start a new class. And every once in a while you get a drop that's not quite for your class, and you're like, well, maybe it's an excuse to try something else.
Maybe try it. Yeah. And I felt like it's not like it's gating. I guess it does a little bit of like having to unlock skills. But I felt like I got them fast enough that, like, because there's certain things like that the Slayer would get, like generating health on multi-hits and things like that, which kind of did change the way it played. But it wasn't like it was locked behind 100 hours of play. It was like, get a feel for the class, you'll kind of learn how to play it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to bring the episode to a close soon, just because we don't want to go too crazy with time. One of the things we didn't mention that happened news-wise was that there was a presentation put forward by Mark Cerny from Sony on the PS5, which was very funny to me, because I have different groups of people in my life, and I got two very distinct reactions that I was not expecting. So first up, every developer I know posting up going like, wow, what a talk. This was fucking amazing. This is one of the best things I've ever heard. And then I went to
James' reaction.
And then I went to work and I heard, that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. Who cares about any of this stuff? Why is it weaker than the Xbox? It's like, and he just sounded like a nerd. Like, what?
Look, there was Paul. They had a fully prepared GDC talk they needed to use. All right.
Yeah.
And they decided they'll save some time and use it as their consumer press conference.
It was funny because it was one of those things where they'd say this, it's like, why would they make this the first big thing? It's like, well, because it's a GDC talk. Like, you know it was a GDC talk. You know this. And like, yeah, but if they were going to make it public, they should have made it jazzier for the public. And like, I guess for optics-wise, you're kind of right. But the public will forget when they see the real when they do the real reveal. Yeah. That's fun. As far as like a tech talk, what this was, oh boy, howdy, did I have fun! And I loved it when he got to technology that I had no idea what it meant. I was like, I don't fucking some of the audio shit he's talking about. He's using terms. I'm like, sounds good. We don't need to break it down here, partly because it's been a month since I listened to it, but also there's a lot of shit to go to. But if you're interested in the tech side of like the architectural design of a new console, I mean, just out of interest, if you want to just hear how people talk about it and why they do things, there's a lot of talk about bandwidth in the console, the memory, particularly hard drive speeds, and just how it all works together. I think it's pitched at developers, but it's still accessible enough that as long as you have a basic knowledge of hardware, you're going to get something out of it, even if you don't fully understand.
I think like the best way to sell like the this kind of extra bandwidth stuff to the consumer is like, are you sick and tired of seeing texture pop in? Because we can get rid of that. That'll go away.
Texture pop in and loading screens.
Yeah. Are you tired of loading screens? Because we can get rid of those.
The problem, of course, being that most games will be multi-platform, and some people might just leave them because it's easier than making something specifically for Sony.
But at least load real fast.
It'll load very fast. Yeah. It'll be especially the stuff that's designed for Sony, I think is going to be a step ahead. And then when it comes to multi-platform stuff, it'll probably be slightly behind because on pure power, the new Xbox is more powerful on just straight up numbers. But
Which
as soon as
arguably don't mean that much these
exactly,
days.
Exactly.
Honestly, that loading time is going to make much more of a difference to regular play in the slightly faster.
That was one of the things because one of the things that has been coming up, Sony has been looking more at porting things to PC. And reportedly, they have said to people to keep in mind a PC version for games they're creating in future. But if this is the baseline, if having this kind of bandwidth and speed is the baseline of what's required, is what people can exploit to make a PS5 game, then most PCs can't actually run it.
Yeah.
Well, the argument he made in that talk though was that by the time it comes around, the standard at least for like gaming PCs is going to be that. Like
I don't think that the standard won't be
not
there.
the standard, but
that's what I mean.
Coming in with a gaming PC is going to be closer to that boundary.
But a newish gaming PC, that's kind of the thing, because with PCs normally like mine can't do that bandwidth, and it's got really quite modern M2 drives in it. It's just like because it just becomes an issue of. Like, with a PC, we're used to, like, we just turn the settings down. But if you actually have to transfer another data, you can't turn that down. That's like, it's part of the design. It's like, the world will just freeze for 5 seconds. Don't worry about it. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be worked around. I'm just saying it makes it harder to do a port to PC, which is normally
maybe on the PC version, Paul, when the world freezes, they could overlay the screen with some kind of, I don't know, loading
tooltip.
icon.
Yeah. It just matters how you're using it. I felt it just made it a more interesting problem because it means that you're really only targeting higher end PCs, which is not normally worth doing a port for. Normally.
I'm glad that there is some kind of standard architectural differences with these next gen consoles, though.
They're not just PCs in a box.
Yeah, it's making me a bit more. It's making me more excited about them existing.
The PS5 is maybe more excited now than just before. But also, speaking of just like benchmarks and porting things, the Switch will be able to run Crysis real soon.
Oh yeah, Crysis is back.
I've had this conversation with multiple people trying to explain why it's not an issue.
Why that can...
It's like,
the Switch can run
Crysis. Can it run Crysis was the big meme of the day.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, but now it'll be the big meme again. Can your PC run the new Crysis? It's like, yes.
Of course it
I
can.
hope that they'll build it correctly. Because the old Crysis wasn't built correcely.
Yeah, that's why it ran so bad.
That's why it ran like shit.
That's why Crysis Warhead was a better game because it was It's like Crysis Warhead was like, we've done some engine optimization now. It's the exact same engine and it's doing better things, but it runs better because we've learned how to do it better.
Like so many people I know have gone like, it was a benchmarking because it was such a like crazy intense high graphic. I'm like, no.
Well, it was. It was both things.
It still looks good.
It was both things, yeah.
But it was designed for single core CPUs, which at the time were becoming big, and then suddenly we got multi-core.
And
the game was like,
we already have CryEngine games on the Switch anyway, so it's actually not that thing. Yeah. Anyway, that was just a funny end. I'm going to leave it there, I think, boys. It's been great talking to you again. We'll see how regularly we can do this, and we'll have to do some checking and see how quality we can make this.
How it all worked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying something new. Well, it's kind of close to what we used to do.
We never used to be a together show.
Again. Yeah.
Yes, but it's much nicer being actually to see each other, and I don't know where to look. I normally just gaze into James's eyes, but now I gotta look at the webcam.
Yeah.
It's fun just staring at the webcam and just knowing that you can see the abyss staring back at you. Okay, thank you for listening or watching to 8.5 Bit. You can catch us on all our stuff. Hopefully we're regular again and we can talk about all these fun things and, I don't know, maybe change the format up a bit now that we're doing things remote. We'll catch you all later, folks. I've been your host, Paul.
I've been James.
I've been Sam.
See, I already said see you later, so just bye. Someone click.